So now what we're going to discuss is the consultation, and the consultation is very important for a couple of reasons. We want to make sure that we are performing a safe procedure and that our client is going to get a great result. So we're going to cover health history and issues like that. We also need to know what our client is really expecting from us. So during the consultation, we can find out what they have in mind for their brows or whichever service they're coming in to see us for. And we want to just talk with them about it, get a little bit more insight so that we're on the same page and we can give them, again, those ideal results that they are looking for. Right now, what I'm going to do is go over the consultation form. So you're going to hear me talking to our model, Mariana, and just covering a few things. When you have them fill out a consultation form, you do not have to retouch on every single point if they have not marked something down. So don't feel like you have to read off every single health issue, because if you were going to do that, you might as well have filled it out with them, okay? But you do need to ask some additional questions sometimes. You do need to clarify things, and you also want them to have the opportunity to ask you questions, because sometimes when they're filling out these forms, things will come up that maybe they need a little bit more clarification on. All right, so right now, currently, we do have to have them do a COVID-19 pandemic disclosure. I don't know how long this will be going on, but for now, it looks like it'll be a while, so we're including it on this video. And basically, it is just a form that makes sure that our client has not had any of the contraindications COVID related to coming in for the service. And we have Mariana has checked all of the no's, so we're okay to go ahead now with the next questionnaire portion. Because we do have different levels of artists, we also have a form that discusses which level of artist will be working on Mariana. And we want to, again, have her understand the differences between the artists. All of our artists do beautiful work. However, some artists have more experience than others. And of course, their price is going to be a little bit higher because of that. Then we go into the medical portion. So Mariana, I see that you have never had a cold sore or just don't have one now. Is it never or? Never. Never. Okay, perfect. So this is important because if they do have a history of cold sore outbreaks, they would need to be pre-medicated prior to the service, particularly for lip services. It's very, very important. If they do come in with a cold sore, they're going to have to be denied the service at this point because there's too much opportunity for spreading that virus around the skin and the area. No allergies here. I don't see that you have any problems with that. Looks like you're very healthy. Anything that wasn't on here that you needed to share? No? Okay, great. So you're looking at having your brows done. Tell me a little bit about, you wrote down or you circled density and thickness. What do you mean by density and thickness?
I just would like to have them a little bit more full and the shape, I guess, to be more defined and even on both sides.
So more symmetrical. Okay, and when you say more full, do you mean more width or just looking more dense?
I just think probably the density.
Like it looks like there's more hair,
yeah.
Not necessarily bigger.
Right.
Perfect. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're asking these questions because dense can mean different things to different people. And of course, we can note that then on the consultation form. There's also an area here for the therapist to write down what blade is used, what pigment combination is used, anything that is relevant. And that'll be documented on here after the procedure is finished. So overall, our client here, our model Mariana, has no health issues. She's great there. One other thing on consultation and medical health, you do want to capture all of their contact information because we want to be able to make sure to follow up with our client. We want to let them know when we have any special events going on, but also it's important that we be able to contact in case possibly she's scheduled for something in the future and the therapist is ill or is going to run late or something. So it's important to capture that information. Then we also have a form here that discusses topical anesthetic and again goes over any contraindications. And so we want to make sure that they understand we will be using topical, some of the side effects of that, what can happen with it. And then with contraindications, we are going back over, just double checking that our client isn't pregnant, they're not nursing, not on chemotherapy or radiation. Those are really the big important things to rule out. Now, you would be signing each of these as you go, and you do have to make sure that your client has also signed each of these forms and dated it properly. We then go into an actual informed consent, and this is going to literally tell them everything that could possibly happen from the procedure, explains it step by step, and you're going to have them initialing, and it's very important that they initial, not do an X or a check mark, which sometimes people just check things off. For legal reasons, it has to be an initial. And then we have an area here where they can waive the patch test. If they need a patch test, they would not be able to have the service that day. So for most people, unless they have a lot of history of reactions to hair dye or any kind of tinting or anything like that, they're going to be fine with the procedure. In our state, which is Minnesota, we do have a standard tattoo release form that is required to be filled out. And so this is just something that we are required to do. On the bottom, it will ask what type of body art they're having, and so she is having ombre brow, and then where, of course, the eyebrows. Now, on the informed consent, Mariana, did you have any questions at all on how the procedure is going to go, any of the potential side effects?
No.
Nope, everything seemed pretty clear? Mm-hmm. Great. And that's a good part of having a well-written informed consent. There aren't going to be a lot of additional questions because it is so thorough and the client has that opportunity to look through that. It's always a good idea to ask them to come in a little bit earlier, about 15 minutes, to be able to do the paperwork and so they can go through it without having to rush and really have a chance to read. And then the last part of this is a photo consent. And photo consent is incredibly important. We have to be able to take before and after photographs. However, they do not have to consent to us using them in our portfolios, on social media, and things like that. So always make sure to talk over this with them. And if they say, you know, you can use it everywhere, but don't show my full face. Or they might be, you know, don't put me on social media at all, and you can document that and write that down. But we have to have before and after. If they will not consent to before and after, they cannot have the procedure, okay? Because we have to be able to see what the brow looked like before we did the service and then have documentation of what it looked like afterward for future reference for us to see how it heals and just everything that's important from a skin care standpoint. So when we talk about photographs then, we're going to start with taking a photograph with our client straight on. And we want to make sure that we have good lighting and as much natural lighting as possible, because if we have very cool or very warm lighting, it is going to affect how the color actually looks. And then you'll need to be take note of your settings so that you have those same settings when you take your after photos. So you would first start out with a photograph from the front, and making sure that you are getting both of the eyebrows in, including the tail. You can come to the side then and take a side view with your client sitting up, and then taking another view like that. Then I can ask my client to recline, and you can just lay back here. And again, I can take another photograph of the brows. I can take a photograph from the side, coming back to the other side. And the reason that I am taking photographs from all different angles and taking multiple photographs, both sitting and laying down, is I want to see how her brows move. Now on someone younger like Mariana, you typically don't have a lot of change in symmetry from laying down to sitting up. However, in a more mature client or somebody who has a little bit less elasticity in the skin, there can be a significant difference in how the brows sit when they're laying back versus when they're sitting up, and I need to be aware of that. And then I want to take a lot of pictures, because for portfolio work we want to be able to have photographs that are great photographs. And of course, you know, in order to get a great photograph, you have to take a lot of photographs. Don't underestimate how important it is to photograph the brows before and then photograph after. And you're going to see us when we're designing the brow, we'll actually take photographs once the design is approved, so that the client, you know, we know the client has approved it and we're ready to go and proceed on with the treatment.